Hello and welcome to another special week of Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nathan.
And this is the podcast that we usually talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But this week, we have a very special week. But before I even get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/driveindoublefeaturepodcast. You can go over there, support us, where you get some fun conversations, some games, just something extra that we give you fans out there for supporting us. If not, doesn't affect any regular content. We still appreciate you nonetheless. But this special week, it is the second edition that we are doing of Friday the 13th week. It's our second one.
Wild. Yeah, I'm happy that we have another Friday the 13th right at the beginning of the year as well. I don't know what that means for the rest of the year. Seems like it might be a little unlucky, but wow, we're here on a Monday.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not unlucky yet. It's still Monday.
Yeah, still Monday. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, it'll get pretty spooky by the time we get to Jason X.
Yes, yeah. But which Friday the 13th are we doing today?
We're starting over.
Oh. So we're okay. I guess I will.
No, I'm kidding. So where we last left off, Nathan, we did Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. And this one we're doing Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, which is directed by Tom McLaughlin. Just like the title says, Jason's back. And where we last left off in the series is that Jason was not the killer. It was just some random ambulance driver and a random EMT that was the killer. And Tommy Jarvis was heavily implied that he was going to be the next Jason, but this movie completely abandons that.
Yeah, probably for the better, right? It's probably good. Jason lives. Let's just make Jason the killer. And not Tommy Jarvis does return though, which I find really interesting.
Completely different actor again.
Again, it's a new Tommy Jarvis. I was watching this and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it. I remember the last Tommy Jarvis being like really weird, like just like his build and everything. It just like weirded me out.
Well, yeah. So like in the other one, he was disturbed. He was in some type of mental facility, and he was kind of like he was real quiet and like a mute, kind of like he just didn't say a whole lot. And like I said, in this one, he's back and he's got a completely different personality. Now he's like this heroic type of like guy, like super Chad energy on this Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, I totally feel that. It's so interesting how this movie opens with him and just some random guy from the mental institution driving, and it's like, we're gonna check on Jason's body. I just have to make sure that he is dead. And then somehow things get so out of whack that they bring Jason back to life.
Well, his friend, I don't know if you recognized him. I don't know how versed you are on classic TV sitcoms, but that was Horseshack from Welcome Back, Kotter,
Kotter. Okay,
with John Travolta was on.
Gotcha.
But anyway, yeah, he was the friend in that one, and this one, so kind of like a, I guess, backstory for this one is, I don't know if you watched. I rewatched the Crystal Lake Memories.
Completely forgot to watch it, but what's up with it?
So, like you said, the 5th movie was not well received at all. It was kind of like, like a lot of fans were mad, and rightfully so. I would say it was, like, you've completely set up this whole thing, and now it's like Jason's like, oh, I'm the new Jason now, but. It did nothing like that at all. Like, that's not what the fans wanted at all. And so like the director of this movie is like, all right, he said he went to Paramount Studios one day and he watched all the other Friday the 13th just to kind of get like a feel for it. And that this is the one he turned in. And just going into it, I actually liked this one. I thought it was good.
No, this one's actually probably my favorite out of the bunch, except for the first one. I actually really enjoyed this one.
I would probably put this as my third favorite. I think
Yeah.
I went back and forth. I think the fourth one is my second favorite.
The fourth one's really good too. This one, I guess, is a lot sillier than all the rest. It has like, if there was one of the movies that Scream was based off of, I definitely get that vibe from this one.
This movie is so meta. It's very tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's so many moments where they're just completely referencing the fact this is a Friday the 13th movie. I mean, like, so after Jason becomes alive, they do a James Bond opening with James.
I love it.
with Jason slicing at the camera with blood splattering.
Yeah, and it looks really cool. I like it because it says like Jason lives, and then the blood splatters down, and it has Friday the 13th under it.
It's so silly, but it's so great because this movie just like it really sets the tone moving forward. And there's other little moments where there's a couple out in the woods, and they're driving to get to the camp, which it's not Camp Crystal Lake anymore. It's now Camp Forest Green.
Yeah.
And what they see Jason just standing there right in the middle of the road, like, because like you said, Jason pops in right away. There is no like building up to this moment. Jason is like throughout this entire movie, which is great. She's like, they stop and he's like, who is that guy? And she's like, I don't know, but anytime I've seen enough movies where I see a guy in a mask, you get the hell out of there. And you're like, yeah,
exactly.
And then when the Jason corners her, and she's like trying to give Jason money, like, here's take my money, please.
It's like an Amex card too. And then Jason drowns her with like a giant stick. So this movie, I think, does a good job with its characters. I think that's what I appreciate about it. So they don't have a lot of depth, right? You know, they're pretty, you can easily tell what kind of character they are, but they're not annoying. And you actually end up kind of caring for some of these characters in the end of the movie, which is really surprising for these movies.
I agree. So yeah. I think this movie does it well, which now that we're talking about it, I might change it from 6 to 4. But anyway, what I really like is that this movie, it doesn't have you spend a whole lot of time with the characters, but each scene, like the scene that they're in, they make a big impression in. So it's like they leave a moment. So another one, it's like a couple that's having sex out in an RV.
One of the best scenes in this movie.
Yeah, and it's so silly to begin with because you know they're having sex, and you know he's like, oh man, she's like, just last for this whole song, and he's like, well, how long is the song? She's like, 10 minutes.
And like, the look God. On his face is, oh God. Like he's in pain. I love it. No, just to describe it, this sex does not even, like, she's just like flailing around almost, and he's just laying back doing absolutely nothing. It's funny. It's really good. And then Jason cuts the power to the RV. And then, and of course, he's like, you know, he finishes, and she's like, "Oh, you finished already?" And he's like, "Well, that was the end of the song, right?" Stupid.
So that couple was funny, and then Jason at one point sneaks onto the RV, and the guy starts like driving like a madman just because he's a like real crazy, kooky kind of guy, and Jason like was on the RV and like shoves her into the bathroom, kills her in the bathroom, and pushes her face so hard into the interior that she leaves a dent on the outside of like
a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy, he's like, hey, what's all, you having fun back there? You want me to come and give you a hand? Like,
yeah.
He's like, what? And then he says, "You taking a dump back there?
Can
I come sneak a peek?" And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, and she's screaming, like blood-curdling screams, getting murdered, and he's thinking about her taking a massive dump in the RV. Now I love that, and then he ends up gets just a big knife to his head. That was probably the most uncreative kill, but you know, it wasn't bad.
But it did follow it up because they actually crashed the RV, and it's actually a really impressive looking crash, like, because it's a huge RV.
And I agree. Yeah.
And it flips.
Yeah, they actually put some work into this. Like a $3 million budget went a long way, I guess.
And then Jason just kind of gets out and just like walks away like nothing happened.
Yeah, I love Jason in this one. But yeah, no, Jason is in this like constantly, and I love it. There's so many kills in this one. It you know, it gives you what you want out of these movies. It doesn't hold back really. There's even a weird subplot with hunters and how he kills these multiple hunters in the woods.
What is it? Well, no, they're like playing like these war
paintball.
games.
Yeah, it's like paintball.
Yeah, they're doing paintball, and like it's the whole deal. Like you get shot, you're dead, or whatever. And there's like 3 guys that he chops all 3 of their heads off in one swipe.
Yes, yeah.
And that was one thing in the Crystal Lake memories, is that like apparently there was a much like really extended shot of that where it's like the bodies crumple down. You could see all 3 heads flying off, but and they put in all this work, and then they told the special effects guys like, "Hey, you remember that scene?" I was like, "Yeah, I was really proud of that." They're like, "Yeah, they cut that out for the ratings."
Yeah, I think you can tell in this one like how that they cut, because there are good kills and good blood, but you can tell that some of them are toned down a little bit.
There's not that much blood in this one, like and like the other ones. Like there's the other one he does like the Jason kill where he takes like a guy's head and then he squeezes it, and then normally like in the other ones you'd see like the guy's eyeball pop out, but in this one it's just he does it to somebody and then just some blood like shoots out of like an off camera type of thing.
It's a little sad, but I think it makes up for that with a little bit of humor.
There's so many meta moments in here where it's just like that, and like there's one where it's like this crazy old like grave digger and like a groundskeeper, and he's like, "Who do they think I am, a fart face?" And then it cuts to like these kids saying, "Yeah."
I love these kids in this one because there's actually like young children in this, and they actually play like a decent part. I mean, this is at the end of the movie. But I just have to say it now, but like there's a dead guy in the middle. Yeah. So they resuscitated Tommy, and they all go, "Yay!" I don't know. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh out loud.
And the other part I liked a lot is Jason's like going on, but like there's like these 2 like wisecracking kids, like these 2 like boys are just like, it's like this one kid's like, "Yeah, I think we're dead meat," or whatever.
That's right.
And then there's another scene like Jason's going on like a full rampage, and they have the kids all in like one cabin. Yeah. And the two kids are like are under the bed together, and one boy looks at the other one. He says, like, "So what were you going to be if you grew up when you grew up?" Or like, "Yeah, what were you going to be if you grew up?"
Yes, yeah. No, it's like the way they handle this, or like the little girl who's like praying to God and Jason standing over her and she's praying for him to go away. And you know what? He does go away. He does walk away.
He does.
Yeah. There's so the big plot of this one mostly deals with Tommy Jarvis just trying to convince the cops, or mainly just one cop, that that Jason is back to harass the town, and the cop is just so against that idea.
That cop I think he plays the role pretty well. I mean,
I agree.
He's not like a super dick about it or anything like that, or because you know he's just like, Jason's dead, like what are you talking about? And then like they go there because the groundskeeper, he doesn't want them to see that Jason was dug up because he doesn't want to make it look like he was like drunk on the job. So he covers up the grave. And then so they go there and he's like, "See, look, the grave's covered." And the guy, you know, he's a decent guy. He's just, I mean, Tommy Jarvis has had like a history of, you know, acting like a crazy guy. So he has full reason to suspect Tommy.
Yeah, and just he's coming around being like, "Oh, Jason Voorhees is alive," and that's Tommy Jarvis's obsession, is Jason Voorhees. So it makes sense. But
he he gets a great kill. Like that, the cop, he gets killed in
Yes.
such a gruesome way.
Yeah, and you actually get to see that one, and I think that one's really cool.
Yeah, he bends this guy, just like, imagine like like you fold a mattress in half, like when you put it like or like at the
in a
hospital.
pull-out couch, right?
Yeah, like in a pull-out couch. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It just folded in half, and that's what happens. Except he goes from like he pushes him so that way his back touches like the back of his legs.
Yeah, and this was like the first time in a Friday 13th movie, first time in a while, where I was like, oh, damn, that sucks that he died, because he's working so hard to get to get Jason Voorhees, and then because he's like running through the forest with a gun and he's trying really hard to take down Jason, and it's actually like, damn, he could have done it.
Yeah, but the only thing I don't agree with is like he's like, oh, let me just go take Tommy Jarvis and just drop him on the edge of town, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. And I'm like, so this guy's potentially like murdering people or doing who knows what. I mean, he doesn't know Tommy Jarvis is not a killer at this point. And he's just like, yeah, get out of town here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's funny that his daughter gets a relationship with Tommy Jarvis, which I think she's funny too. I really love the scene where she answers the call for the police, and she's like, oh yeah, he's in no, she says, no, he's draining the lizard right now, can I take a message?
Yeah,
it's just silly. But they have like hijinks, her and Tommy, the whole car driving scene at the end when she's getting out of town, and he trying to hide Tommy and her legs. It's funny.
I really like that part too, because before that they're driving and she's like, all right, I'm going to drive into town. He's like, and she tells Tommy like, well, you be on the lookout for roadblocks. He's like, okay, there's one right there. Like immediately.
So silly. Yeah, in any other horror movie, if it was taking itself seriously, you'd be like, what that's so stupid. But in this one, it's like, okay, you know what, I'm fine with this. It knows what it is, and I love that. It knows that it's just a silly slasher. It knows what you want out of it.
And the Gravedigger too, he actually breaks the fourth wall in this movie because he looks right at the camera and he just says, some people have a sixth sense of entertainment.
Yeah. Speaking directly to me and Ryan.
Yeah, who else would he be talking to?
Yeah, movies are made for us, right? For the podcast. Oh man, I the ending to this one is really interesting, with Tommy bringing the boat onto the water, because he's just trying to lure Jason into the water, because the whole connection to the Crystal Lake. And he makes a ring of fire around him as Jason's like in the water, and he tries to kill him. And the way Jason dies is really cool. I like his death in this, where he gets his face smashed into a boat propeller. It's I don't know, it's really interesting.
Yeah, he gets caught up in a boat propeller, and then he's just left underneath the water, and he's covered up with all these chains and stuff like that. And of course, it does oh, he's alive. His eyes open.
Of course. Yeah.
Even though he's still underwater.
Yeah. I mean, Jason's indestructible, even though he is dead, I guess, technically. And then Tommy Jarvis did it to himself and brought him back to life by lightning, like Frankenstein's monster, I guess.
Yeah. To me, it's a really good return to form type of thing. It's they really go out of their way to like, all right, like we're not going to take this movie too seriously, but it's not going to be, because to me, in my opinion, it's like the fifth one is about as low as you can go so far for these sequels, and it's just like, because that one was rough because it felt so sleazy and it felt gross, not just on kills, but just like as a whole, where it was just had all these like really disgustingly long sex scenes and stuff like that, where they basically, like, the guy was directing a porno instead of a feature movie,
which kind of what was going on. But yeah, it worked. That I think they studied what made the other ones work and they kind of put together like the essence of what Friday the 13th should be. And I really hope this is a good sign for what's to come. Because this one, it's a ton of fun. I think, like, if there was one I was going to recommend you from the series, this would be one of the ones I'd be like, yeah, you should definitely check out this one along with like some of the others.
Oh yeah, I mean, fifth one totally skippable. You do not need to see the fifth
No.
one at all. And
They have the same main character, but it does not matter.
It does not matter because they don't, like I said, they ignore everything because one of the things they said too, like in the beginning, like the producers it was pretty much directed like you have to bring Jason back.
Yeah. I mean, and for good reason. I get it because I guess people are really, really upset. I mean, I can imagine. Nobody likes that kind of twist.
Yeah. The other thing too is Harry Fredini. He comes back.
Okay.
And he does the score for this one, which I actually thought. It's pretty good. It's good.
I forgot until now about the song at the end of the movie. It looks like this movie has a pop song with the Jason theme playing over it, and then once again it's kind of meta, talking about a man behind the mask, stuff like that. And I stayed at the credits to listen to the song. It was actually kind of a fun song.
As I said, once again, this is just one of those where it's like a true to form type of thing. It's going back to basics. Unfortunately, though, it grossed less money than part 5. So it's kind of at this point, it's kind of like the general decline of those where, because you got to imagine. So this is 1986 that this movie comes out.
Yeah.
And so there's been a Jason movie almost every year since it's come out. So you got to imagine how tiring everyone would have to be by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, that must suck to put this, because it seems like this one had really good effort behind it, really good like meaning, and then it just doesn't perform well, like as well as you expect. It probably would make you go like, well, why try that hard again? We might as well just pump out something a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see as it goes on, like if it does decline. Although 7 is probably one of the ones I'm like most excited to see. So
yeah, same here. I'm really excited to talk about tomorrow's movie.
Yeah, so we'll get into it when we actually do talk about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't have to ask you. So would you give this a recommend? I'd say yes.
Oh yeah, totally. I recommend this one. It's just a really cool slasher. I think this is what I want of a slasher. I want to laugh. I want to see some fun kills, and I'm happy that Jason's back and really feels like Jason. And this is gooey, messy, maggoty Jason. Jason feels all powerful in this. He is so strong, nothing can beat him.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say. The prosthetics in that scene, that opening scene with like the moldy Jason, like the decomposing Jason, that looked great with all the maggots and stuff all over his face.
Yeah. No, great movie. I think it's one of this franchise's best. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I give it a full recommend. But Nathan, I'll go ahead and ask you anyway. What are we going to be talking about tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Well, terrific. Can't wait for tomorrow. And like I said, be sure to join us. We're doing episodes all week, Monday through Friday. So be sure to listen to those. But once again, as we always, if you'd like any thoughts, opinions, send us an email over at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. And once again, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/driveindoublefeaturepodcast. But till next time.
Until next time.